do you compare, do you look at the cost of salt brine as far as the cost of getting that together to the effectiveness that it is on the roads? And does the administration or does someone out here in Harrisburg call the districts and say, you have to use salt brine now, or you leave that up to the county managers? I mean, sometimes we see, and sometimes, like, I think it's more of a, sometimes PennDOT maintenance gets a bad rap, and people are like, we never see PennDOT out in the roads, so now we see them out putting salt brine down, but it melts the snow, but then it refreezes, so it's not as effective. So I'm just wondering if you look at the effectiveness of it before it's used, and is it more effective in other parts of the state than some of the others?
Thank you for that question, Representative Hahn. I got to tell you, I'm an engineer, and I'm still trying to figure out the maintenance business at PennDOT, right? It's very complicated. It's not just the engineering part. It's the science part, is the timing part, is the scheduling part, is the resource part. It's very, very complicated. I never thought that this part of PennDOT is so complex. And actually, when I talked to our Executive Deputy Secretary, George McCauley, he calls it the science of winter, right? I mean, and there's been a lot of thoughts and studies put into it, and constantly looking into improving the business of maintenance. You mentioned, and then there are spreadsheets after spreadsheets on how much salt they wanted to get based on the numbers from previous years. I mean, there is a scientific way on actually the resources they put together in preparation for the winter season, especially, based on the previous data, they use that. You mentioned using brine before salting the roadways. It's related to the temperature at the time. It's related to what's coming next, how cold it's going to get. So, yes.
It just seems like years ago, and the people who are in the maintenance office or maintenance departments have been there for years, and they kind of know what works and what doesn't. Sometimes I think we bring the scientific data in, and it throws everything askew, and it's best left to the people who know what they're doing at the level. So they might know in Northampton County it works at this temperature, and maybe when you go up over the mountain, and we see that in the districts, in Monroe, it might be a different temperature. So I was just curious on that, but I have a lot of other questions, so I'm just going to keep moving on. Coming from the Lehigh Valley, I have a lot of cement industry in the district. So I'm just wondering, I know Representative Delosier has House Bill 2062, which will form an advisory committee to study concrete versus asphalt for the highway construction. So is that something you'd be interested in? Do you look at that? Do you see when is a good time to use one versus the other? Does it make it more competitive if they're competing? I have asphalt plants as well, so I'm not trying to put anyone out of business, but I certainly like to help the industries that are there stay there.
Absolutely. As a department, we are looking into it. We're working with both partners, the asphalt industry and the concrete industry. We're actually looking to them to come in with some tools, with some ideas. We want the industry to be competitive in their bidding. At the end of the day, we wanted to bring in the best quality and the lowest cost kind of a product into PennDOT. We wanted to do more with the dollars that we have, right? We've been talking to both sides, and we actually, competitive bidding definitely is an idea. We're experimenting with bringing more concrete into our business with asphalt overlay. That's a project we're actually doing as a pilot project in District 3 CSVT. So we're constantly looking into new ideas of low life cycle cost for asphalt and concrete, and making it very competitive. But again, we're looking at them to come in with some tools and ideas.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Another issue that I hear a lot, I live in a small municipality and small borough. We have 5 state roads. The mayor tells me this every time I see her, which is at least once or twice a week. We have 5 state roads that come into the borough. What is PennDOT doing to help these small municipalities? I think we heard from my counterpart in the Lehigh Valley that we have all this the warehouses mostly coming in, so a lot of truck traffic. The GPS is taking them through these small boroughs, maybe on their state roads, but not always as well maintained as we like. So how can PennDOT help these smaller municipalities deal with this truck traffic when they have nowhere to go? They really have no way to widen the roads, nothing else to do.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. And we're faced with that challenge everywhere. Actually, part of the problem we're hoping to address this issue as we are developing our long-range transportation plan. We're in the process of developing our 12-year program, actually 25 years, which I think is way too long, but it is what it is. But basically looking at all these freight routes and state routes and the freight movements, as well as we work with the locals and the regional MPOs, RPOs on the development within those areas. We're hoping that the municipalities actually know what's coming next. We need to work together. So a lot of times, unfortunately, this is a situation we're faced everywhere. I mean, Pennsylvania is blessed with a lot of these warehouses, but at the same time, they're dumping a lot of traffic on our roadway system. And some of this expansion was really not a well thought out plan. And, I don't know how much the
And some of these
information-
municipalities don't have a say. They're building in the surrounding areas, but the traffic's coming through. But I see I'm out of time, so thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.